Hi, in this Affinity Designer tutorial, we're going to be making a simple cat that you could use to decorate kids' printables or even convert into a coloring image. So once again, we're going to be building with shapes and making a few modifications in order to achieve this simple cat. So let's start out with blocking out our basic shapes. So we'll start with an ellipse tool for the head. And I'm going to turn off the stroke. And we're just going to build this with a gray kind of fill just to block it out. For the ears, I want 2 triangles. So I'll go to this shape tool, choose the triangle tool, draw out my triangle. We'll grab the little handle here and rotate it a bit, position it on the head, just adjust it a little taller. Maybe a little wider. So we're kind of looking at the shadow that it's creating when we've got it gray like this. So maybe just a little pointier. Okay, well, I'm not going to fuss with it too much. Let's copy and paste that. And then I'm going to go up here and flip it horizontally. I can hold Shift, and that will kind of hold it in the same plane as I move it over to the other side of the head. All right, so now we have that. Now let's create the body. So I'm going to go back to the shape tool and pick the tier tool. We'll draw out the body. And then we can move that up and adjust it until we like the outline of it. And I'm going to turn snapping on so that it helps us line things up. There we are, directly centered to the head. So let's go with that. And then I think the next thing we'll do is we will create the feet here. So these are the back feet. And so let's grab the cloud tool. We'll draw out a cloud. I want 5 bubbles for this. And then we'll move this red dot in just a little bit. And then we will, with this shape selected, flip this vertically. And now we can move it into position, and we'll make it obviously a little smaller. Let's zoom in a little so we can see. And I'm also just going to change the color for the moment so that we can see the contrast. And so it helps us to just position this a little better. So we'll put his paws sticking out right around there. And then we'll select it, copy and paste, flip it, hold Shift while you move it over to the other side of his body. Okay, so now we can pick both of these, and let's just grab the eyedropper here, and we'll change the color to gray. So eyedropper with both of them selected, and then just pick the color that you want to match. Make sure that apply to selection is checked if that's not working the way it just did for me. All right, so now we've got the basics of the body. I want to make sure that I can put a stroke around all of this. So if I'm happy with the basic outline of this, I'm going to grab all of it, go up here to the geometry tools and add. And so now this is one object that I can scale any way that I want. And I can also put a stroke on it. Well, that stroke's a little bit big, so let's turn that down. All right, so now I have a stroke on my cat's body. Let's make a tail. So I'm going to go to the pen tool. For mode, I want to have the smart mode on. This is going to give me a nice smooth tail. So we'll go in and then we'll curve out a bit. That's a very long tail. Let's get rid of a couple of these. Okay, so there is our tail. This one I do want to have a little wider, and we'll just leave that like that for now. Next thing I want to work on is these front paws. So we'll start out with a rectangle, and for the moment I'm going to turn the stroke off. So again, I'm going to block it out, and we'll say we want the paws about that wide. We'll go back to the cloud tool and we'll make those toes again by making 5 bubbles, and then we'll flip that vertically so that the 3 bubbles are on the bottom, and then we can also adjust the little red dot in a little bit. Zoom in, and now we'll go to the move tool and just adjust this. So ultimately I want to get rid of the top ones. So once I've got it looking fairly good on these 3 bottom toes, never mind the top ones, once I'm happy with those 3 ones, I'm going to convert this to curves, and I'm going to click on this top dot, delete, click, delete, click, delete, until I'm left with just these. And so then I can change this, and I think we'll just squish it up just a little bit more. Okay, I like that. So let's go ahead and grab all of this and add it. Copy and paste. Flip it. And then we'll move this over here. All right, so now let's again move this into position. And we will put a stroke on it. So we'll have to do that individually. Put the stroke on. Let's turn it down. This one, we'll put a stroke color and we'll adjust the line weight down. Okay, so the last thing is we need to open up the paw things because he does not have a line where his paws connect to his body. That should be seamless. So let's go over here, go to the node tool, click on this first one, and we're going to go to the center. And I'm just going to put a new node there by just clicking on the line. And then up here in the action, I want to go to break curve. You'll see that dot turned red. Now I'm just going to rotate that dot over. And there we go. Do the same thing over here. Click in the middle to create a new point. Break it there. And then we'll just open it up. Okay, so now we got our basic cat, and we need to have a face for the cat. So let's start out with some simple eyeballs. We'll create with the ellipse tool. I'm going to take off the stroke and put a fill on it. Move tool, and move the eyes into position. Copy and paste that. Hold shift so that I can move it over evenly. Okay, there's the eyes. And then for the nose, I'm going to use a heart tool. We'll draw out a heart, flip it, and then I'm going to convert it to curves, and I'm going to put on a stroke, take off the fill, select this node here and break the curve. And then I'm going to click it and delete, click it and delete, and we'll delete these ones as well. And now we are left with just this little thing. And then we'll get another ellipse. Again, fill, yes. Doesn't matter if you leave the stroke on, it's all black anyways. And we'll put that there. Now we need some whiskers, so we'll go to the pen tool. This time we'll go to line mode, and we will click 2 spots where we want the whiskers to be. Move tool, it's still selected. Copy and paste it, flip it vertically, and then we can move that down. And then we'll copy and paste one more. Rotate that so that it's horizontal, move that up. And actually these, I feel like they're just a little thick. So let's make them 2 points. So I'm just going to change all of them. And now I'm going to select all 3, holding Shift and clicking on each of them. Copy and paste the whole group, flip this one horizontally, and then you can move them to the other side of the face. All right, so all that's left is to change the color of the cat. So let's go over here and I'll change it to this color. We can grab the feet, change that. And then we only have the tail to deal with. So this is a stroke. We'll change the stroke color. And we also want to just send this to the very back. So we're going to go up here, move to back so that it's behind the body. And I think it needs to go down further. And I would also like to thicken this up a little. Now we have one problem. Everything is outlined except for this tail. And if we try to fill this, this is what happens. So we can't fill it. We've already used a stroke color for the main part of the tail. How do we get it outlined? So here's the trick for that. With this selected, I'm going to go to FX. I'm going to click on Outline. Move this over, make sure that the tail is selected, and then we can add a radius to that. And I'm just going to keep pulling it up until it matches the rest of the cat. And so that's how you can get around putting an outline on a stroke. All right, so I hope you got some useful tips out of that and some ideas of how to build simple animals for children's printables using Affinity Designer and shapes. Thanks for watching.